How you doing? Today's going to be a different kind of video. Today I am going to show you a couple items that were sent to me. All right, full disclosure, this company sent me a solar generator and refrigerator. It's from ICECO, really great company. I was familiar with the name because I watch a lot of van life videos. I have other friends, some of them have ICECO products. I know that they're pretty reputable and it's a pretty good quality product. I received an email and that's how this whole thing started. I didn't know if I should take it seriously. When you're on YouTube, you get offers like this from time to time. So it was just one of those situations where I didn't know if I could trust it. I actually called the phone number that they provided and spoke with a woman who made it sound like it was a real thing, and then it was a back and forth of emails after that, making sure I was the right person for the product and all of that, letting them know about the van and what I do in it, and letting them know that the channel's not just a van life or adventure channel. You guys know I do my bicycles and my woodworking, and I just talk and tell stories, but a big part of it was this whole build with this van and trying to get out there in it as often as possible. I mean, the longest I've lived out of this van has been about, well, just shy of 5 months. I've lived out of the van. And I do have a small solar generator, and I do have a refrigerator that I purchased with my own money, but it has been on my brain to get a larger capacity solar generator. And the technology is constantly changing. So what we're going to look at here today is the PB1000 and the GO20. So the PB1000 ICECO generator, solar generator, and the GO20 fridge freezer. It's a dual zone. It can be controlled with an app, but you guys know me. I'm pretty low tech with this. I don't know if I'll personally use the app. I'm hoping that you're able to control it all with the controls on the top, and you'll see that in a follow-up video of me actually using the stuff. But right now what you're about to see are the products, and I'm going to talk about what the features are, and we're going to find out what this thing's all about. So stay tuned. So here they are. We've got the GO20 and the PB1000. I'm going to go over the dimensions with a tape measure. I actually prepared some notes here today, believe it or not. Actually trying to be somewhat pro. Can you believe that? And I'm going to compare it to the units that I currently own, and I'm going to test some compatibility real quick for you. Because this unit here, this is a 1057 watt hour, and it puts out 1200 watts. So this is actually apparently has more capacity than another unit that I was looking at buying. So I'm very happy to have this. We'll see how it works out. But it only comes with the AC plug adapter, and then it comes with this here, this little pigtail, which plugs in here. And I wasn't certain. I mean, I'm not a full-time van lifer. I'm not super familiar with this sort of thing. So I wasn't sure if the other cables I have that came with my current solar generator, happens to be a Blue Eddy, would work with this. It looks like they do. I'll talk about that in a moment. And your freezer unit here, the GO20, it comes with your 12-volt adapter. Right, so you plug this in your cigarette lighter. On the Astro van, there's one in the rear, which is great. Comes with your AC adapter, and then it comes with an AC to DC charger, which is this is interesting to me. Off the top of my head, I don't see the relevance with this, but it is interesting. So you can plug this AC plug into your wall outlet, and then plug a 12-volt charger like this here in to charge it, but I don't know why you would want that, but it seems like this came with something extra for this, which is cool, and then lacking here, because I feel like at the very least, just to be honest, it would have been nice if this came with a 12-volt cigarette lighter plug that plugged into here, but it does not. So if you're just buying this unit right off the top of the bat, you're gonna need one of these if you intend to run it inside your vehicle. Just so you know. All right, so let's get to the nitty-gritty with this before I start getting into the dimensions. Because I did look a few things up. I actually have a few notes here, as I said. We're going to talk about the PB1000 unit here. First thing about it is it's square and has a folding handle, flat top. Now, in a van, that's what you want. There were units out there in the past that had, I think Jackery had that handle that was always up all the time. That made no sense. This is much better. This has wireless charging. You can set your phone on the top. It's got a light in the back. We'll see if we can make all this work. I didn't really look at the instructions yet. I don't see an on-off switch for that. We've got your AC input here. There's a ground. These have these nice rubber. These are real easy to use too. It looks like they'll stay in place. I had a problem with that on my last unit. So that will keep your dust and moisture out. There's some rubber bumpers on the top here. I don't know if they have a dedicated stackable unit, but that seems like if you were to place something there, it might help it from sliding off in transit. Back to the front of the machine. So this is what they're calling a PV input, and that's for this pigtail that comes with the unit. This will plug right in here. All right, now apparently you should be able to plug your 12-volt charger in here and your solar panels. And I'll go off on a tangent right quick right now. So this is a cable that came with my Blue Eddy 12-volt charger, and this looks to me like it fits. So we're going to do a practical experiment with this in my next video when I actually have this thing out in the desert. I'll be out there probably tomorrow or the next day. And we will plug this into the cigarette lighter and see if that charges that way. Same thing with the solar panels. Interestingly, again, I have a collapsible solar panel. That was a Blue Eddy thing. This did not come with a solar panel. The retail price on this, I believe right now, is $999. I'm being told that they're going to provide me with a link. It might say Astrovan Tribe on it, where you guys can get a discount if this is something that you're interested in, and it will be in the description below. If it's not on there right now, the first time you see this video, come back again, because they probably won't get that back to me until maybe tomorrow, and at that point I'll be able to insert that in the description below. So back to this. Here is the pigtail with these universal connectors that you'll find for a solar panel. And again, it looks to me like this plugs right in there. Now there's not when it plugs in, it's not like I'm feeling a click. It just slides right in. The only way to find out is to run this down a little bit, plug this in, set up the solar panel, and then watch and see what kind of input we get from the sun. And when I do that, that will be on the video as well. So I'm just pointing out the unit does not come with this or this. There's probably a name, and forgive me, I don't know what these connectors are called, but if you do know, you could probably buy this. You could probably buy this right on Amazon. You may be able to buy it through ICECO as well. I was on their site, but I wasn't looking for that. It's got a LiFePO4. It's LiFePO4. It's a high output battery. So I looked that up, and it turns out, you know, we've got lithium iron phosphate, lithium ion phosphate. There's a difference between these two, and it turns out this one is a little bit better for a couple of reasons. It doesn't have any cobalt or nickel in it, so you don't have to worry about that mining. If that bothers you, that's the thing that bothers your conscience. You know, people out there mining these in third world countries, these batteries don't contain that, and they're also less volatile. So the battery in this is a lot less likely to spontaneously combust or anything like that. And the other thing about these batteries is it's said that they will take at least 3,000 full charges. And I read, when I did the research on these Life P04 batteries, is that if you treat this thing well, it could take up to 10,000 full charges. So in my mind, it's something that you might want to be aware of. If you don't use these batteries that much, you're in pretty good shape. I read in their handbook that you should charge this thing, or maybe it was online, every 3 months or so, you should give this thing a full charge, just to make sure it's good to go. What else about this? Yes, less likely to combust. I just wanted to mention that because there has been issues with, I mean, even the cars, the electric cars, some of them just catch on fire and all that. So apparently the electric car batteries and the batteries for this, the batteries in your phones are a little bit different. They use the more volatile stuff, but it's a smaller thing and it costs more money. And because this is such a larger unit, they can use the cheaper material, which again is nicer because it doesn't have the nickel or the cobalt in it. It makes more sense for this. It's got a quick charge system. So this came to me last night. It had about 50% charge, 53% charge. I plugged it in. And it did take about an hour to charge it from that point. But keep in mind, that was the first charge ever on this thing, other than what it came with from the factory. I don't know if they do charge them full from the factory or not. But it says in their literature that it takes about an hour and a half, 1.6 hours, I think they said. So under 2 hours, apparently, this thing from your AC, that's alternate current, that's plugging it into the wall in your house, it should charge pretty quick. They mentioned this thing, it's called UPS function for uninterrupted power supply. I think UPS stands for uninterrupted power supply. So that's something to be aware of. I'm not really sure what it means, to be honest with you, but it's a feature of this thing. The other thing to mention is it's got multiple ports. We're going to show you that. You know, it's got the LED light on the back, and they say it's portable and easy to carry. So I'm going to tell you right now, we'll look up the weight on this. It's no joke. It's got to be at least 30 pounds, it feels like to me. What I do like about it, before we even get into the ports, and the fan comes on, by the way, when it's charging a little bit, you can hear it. Maybe if it's in the van, it's something that you got to be aware of. But I'm unaware of any power supply or anything else that has a fan that is totally silent. I haven't seen that yet. So I don't know that that's even, I don't know why people even mention it. It's something you just would have to get used to. I don't think it's a deal breaker. That's it for the specs. In particular, the specs I have to mention. But what we have here is we have your AC inputs. And it's interesting that they have this little extra, that's usually for a higher output. I did go online, I'll give you a close-up of this too. And I looked up, because one of the things I was thinking about doing, if I had a larger solar generator, which now I possess, was looking up kettles or you know, the hot plates where you can plug it in electrically. And if you wanted to cook inside the van, induction cooking, that's a little bit better than using a flame inside your van, right? It's safer. There are units that it looks like this will power, because this will have an output of 1200 watts, but a lot of those come in at like 1800 watts. So if you're going to buy one of those products, you got to make sure that this thing will power it. I don't currently own one to test it. So there's that. Same thing with the electric kettles out there. A lot of them start at more like the 1800 watt range. So something to be aware of. This thing will power everything else you need, laptops and everything else. We've got USB. We've got the C chargers. That's what my phone uses right there. So that's nice and convenient. I don't have to go to a USB and then plug it in there. I can use it with the hard wire right from my phone. Again, these rubber covers, perfect. Real easy, man. That doesn't get easier. It pops out, flips up nice and easy, and boom. And then we've got a DC output, so there's your 12 volts, so you can plug your, that's interesting. So if you had another thing, I don't know what else, I guess this is for your fridge. If you were running this from your fridge, you could plug it directly into here and charge it that way. Of course, if you got your fridge and you got this, you could plug it in and plug it in this way. So that's kind of neat. And then we've got a couple of these other inputs here. They're calling it a car socket and 2 times DC. So these are, I guess, direct current small cables. I'm unfamiliar with that personally. I'm sorry about that. This is not my world. We've got an on switch here. It comes on. We're at 100%. We got 0 input, 0 output. I'm looking for the... Okay, that's our light switch. All right, so we've got some functions on this light you guys might find interesting. So it's off. I pushed it once, it's on. That's a high beam, obviously. There's like a signal, hey, come find me. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So we know what this is. This is your universal SOS code. Save our ship. I need help. That's a nice thing to have. You guys know I'm kind of minded that way. Survival minded. Everything I keep in the van all the time is there for me to help me survive in case something bad happens. And now it's off. So at least I know where that button is now. All right, so that's pretty much it for the moment for the PB1000. Let's get to this sucker here. Talk about it. Because there's something off about this thing. I haven't plugged it in yet. We're going to do it right now, but I want you to listen to this. It sounded worse a second ago, but there's something rattling around in here. It came in the original box, unopened. But something is rattling around inside here, and I don't know if that's going to factor into the functionality of this thing. Putting that aside, it does. You can work this with an app off your phone. It's a dual zone, which is really cool. So you can have either side set up as a freezer or a fridge, and that's pretty cool. I'm not going to get into working it right now, because I'm going to have to figure that out. This is more of like an unboxing sort of video, let you guys kind of familiarize you with it. It's pretty neat. They got the troubleshooting issues here. This is all in the handbook. It's got a soft close feature. I really like that. You still have to tap it to shut it all the way. Of course, it has the integrated handholds, which is what you want in a vehicle. Having said that, I have to point this out because I'm slightly concerned. Because in the book, somewhere in here, it says right here, now, keep in mind, they contacted me, ICECO, very nice people, great company, they followed through, communication has been great, but the emails were very specific about van life. That's what they want. They want van life content. That's what they sent these things to me for that. But I have to point out, it does say here, this appliance is intended to be used in household and similar applications such as staff kitchen areas and shops, offices and other working environments, farmhouses, and by clients in hotels, motels, and other residential type environments, bed and breakfast environments, catering, and similar non-retail applications. So, you know, I don't know what I'm supposed to say about that. I will say this too, when the package was left on my stoop, it was very specific and it said this side up, but the package was up on end when it came to me. So you know how these delivery people are. They throw boxes in the trucks and but they get bounced around and everything else. I may have to open this up. There are 3 screws here. It looks like this whole panel will come off and find out what's rattling around in there. I think I'm just going to do that because it's likely just some simple thing, some little thing that just is clipped in some way and just kind of came loose. That's what I'm assuming is going on with this thing. What I love about it is that I can have a fridge and freezer at the same time. The unit that I have, and you'll see it in a moment because I want to measure the interior capacity and I want to show you the difference with the outside measurements. Mine will freeze, the one I have, but you have a choice. You're either freezing or you have it on a refrigerator. That's it. But with this, it's dual zone. And for such a small unit, I think that's cool. And aesthetically, I have to tell you, it's beautiful. I think that this gray is really nice. It's small, it's lightweight, it's smaller than the unit that I already had. And what can I say about black? Black is beautiful. This thing is still on. So you guys are going to see these things in use here pretty soon with my friend who's in from out of town, and she's from Canada, so she wants to get out to the desert. And I thought it would be really cool to surprise her and have some ice cream with us out in the desert. So you guys will see that in the next video. So before we get on to that, let's do a couple real quick practical tests here. I've got a tape measure out here somewhere. Hang on one moment. So as I was saying, I could read these specs off the sheet, okay? But they're usually in metric and English versions, but I'm just going to go ahead and give it to you. So deep, we're looking at about 10 5/16 of an inch, depth-wise this way. Width-wise this way, we're looking at about 14 1/16, a little less than that. And on height, I'm telling you that this is going to be just under 10 9/16, so that's just over 10.5 inches tall. All right, just so you know. Let's go ahead and shut this off. All right, now on the fridge, this unit here is approximately 22.5 wide. It's approximately 12 13/16 deep. It's just under 12 3/4 of an inch deep. And the height of this, let's be a little bit tougher to figure out because it rolls down. Yep, it looks to me like it's just a hair over 12.5 inches high. It's probably about 12 9/16 of an inch tall. So now you know what that is. Internal capacity on this thing. Not thinking about the divider. The divider only has one setting. It does not look adjustable, so you're stuck with this small size and this larger size. But from what I read, you can choose which side you want to be a freezer and which side you want as a refrigerator. But the depth on that, well, I'm really curious about this because the unit I had already purchased with my own money was good because it'll fit bottles of water standing. But this one here, internal, I'd say it's 9 1/4 inches is where you're safe. With the height, your depth is 9.5 inches is tight right there. And your width on this is 13 3/4. And maybe a 1/16 more, but we're splitting hairs there. I want to pull up this other fridge that I have and compare that. Because my fridge, let me tell you what the weight feels like between these. They're pretty similar. If I had to guess, the ICECO is probably slightly heavier. My unit is larger. My height is taller. So the height here is a solid 10 5/8. So it's an inch or more taller on the inside. I think that's important. Yeah, we're at 9 1/4. Hang on a moment. Got the helicopters around here, so it's interesting here. So yeah, again, 9 1/4 on the height there. You know, solid 10 5/8 here. So this old one's a little bit nicer. However, our width on this, we've got 13 7/8. On this one here, well, it's a little bit less. It's a 1/16 of an inch narrower on width. And on depth, we've got 9 3/4. We got 9.5 there. So altogether, the new unit I have, the ICECO, is smaller in every way. The overall size and the internal dimensions. So that is just how it is. I'm going to tell you this though. And then we'll just go over this real quick and you guys can look this up. This is about 12.5. Go back to this. This is a little bit wider. This is more like 12 and 5/8. On this one here, this just drops when you close it. Again, this one here has the soft close, which is nice. You know, you want your kids' fingers to get caught in this thing. I can also see there's a light in here that will light up your stuff that's in here. There is no, this is a no frills unit right here. Again, it will freeze or be a refrigerator. This does have a USB charger in the top built into it. I don't see that on here. There's a DC input here, and that's it. So this doesn't do anything else, but again, it does do freeze and fridge at the same time. And you can see the difference in height, but if you want to know exactly what it is, we're at 13 and 5/8 of an inch tall, and we're at 22 and 3/8 of an inch wide. So this is kind of massively larger than the ICECO unit. Now here's the thing. Here's kind of what I'm thinking. With the Astrovan, as you guys know, the Astrovan is really tight on size. Okay? And what I'm kind of thinking is, what a lot of people do, van lifers do, if you want to be out for a longer period of time, you might want a larger refrigerator to carry more food. Makes sense. But the people that do that, they're living in full-size vans, camper vans, RVs, things like that. They've got the space. They can have a large fridge that needs a larger area to store it and even more area to lift the lid and get into it, or they've got to build a system where it slides out and then they can open it and put it back away, all those things. With me, I've got a deck going across the back of the van that I can sleep on, and underneath that is empty space. And if I'm out adventuring, I don't need to have my tools. Normally, you guys know, my van is my only vehicle, so I have my tools in there a lot of the time to do woodworking projects. There's more than enough room. This is actually an interesting experiment right here, since I have the tape measure. Let's just see what the width is on this. Wow. This is an inch longer, it's 45 inches, than the width of my bed right now, which is 44 inches. And of course, next to one another, there's no problems there whatsoever. So my thought process is, with having two units, is that I could possibly have one set up just as a fridge and the other one set up as a freezer. And I can get these two units underneath there and still have plenty of room for other gear, clothes and bags and other things. And it actually would be more efficient for me than having one big large thing that won't fit in the van anyhow. So this could work out well for me. I'm excited to try these units together. It was very nice of ICECO to send them out to me. And again, you know, full disclosure, they did send me these things. So the next step is to get them out there and do a practical, realistic experiment with this and let you guys know how it's going to work out. What I like about this is that it's going to help me to expand my capacity when I'm out there. So hopefully won't need to charge it as much, right? Mostly I'll be running my laptop and charging batteries and that sort of thing off of it. But now that I have it, I can start eyeballing other appliances. One of the things I never did before was even lights. You guys might remember Wonder Hussy did a video on me in the van out at the Saline Valley, and she made a comment about the lighting. I don't have lighting in my van other than the lights that came with it factory. And I had a work light that was very bright, so she made the joke like, well, I won't be in here with that lighting. But I didn't want to buy lights, you know, like the fairy lights or whatever that go around the inside of the van and plug them into my solar generator. I know that they don't eat much power, but I just felt like I don't want those to be eating any power, because the unit that I had in the past, which I'll show you right now, this is what I've been using. And I'll tell you right now, this is not light either for being such a small unit. But this is what I had been using. And I just didn't like the idea of plugging lights in and having the laptop and everything else plugged into it. So I think this is, it's 300 watt output. I think they call it a 750 or a 650 watt amp hours, whatever this is. It never let me down. It did everything I needed it to do. But now that I have this unit, I feel a lot better about possibly running some lights in that I can plug into this thing. And again, my take on this, if I haven't mentioned this before in a recent video, you've got options. A lot of people build their vans, their van lifers, and they're going to tell you, hey, for less money, you can buy one of the batteries, you can buy all the stuff, you can buy your DC to DC charger, you can do all this wiring and build it into your vehicle. Absolutely. For less money. But it's only less money if you don't consider your time. How much time do you put into learning how to do it all? And then how much time do you put into wiring it all and doing all that work? And at the end of the day, when you're finished with that, well, now it's built into your truck, man. So when that truck rots out, or God forbid you get into an accident or something like that, or you can't afford it anymore, whatever, your lifestyle changes. Of course, you can go through all the trouble of tearing all that out and moving it into another vehicle, but it's so much work versus this. You spend the money on something like this, you just have a dedicated spot for it, it's there. Here's the beauty of it. Even here in Los Angeles, the big city, the power goes out. At least once a year it goes out, sometimes several times a year. The wind blows too hard here, the power goes out. It's crazy. Not only that, we've got these rolling blackouts all the time now because they're trying to depend on renewable energy, which is not reliable. So we're living in a state here that I live in where you've got people pushing the electric car thing, but then you got the governor coming on telling you don't charge your electric cars right now, don't use your AC right now, don't do this, don't do that, because the grid can't support it because they put so much effort into that. Well, when that happens and our power goes out, now I could take this up into my apartment, I can hotspot with my phone, I can still have internet, or I can at least run my computer and I can watch a movie on that, right? A DVD or something like that. So, or you're anywhere else. You could take this unit out of your car and use it for something else. So to me, this is more versatile. That's just my way of thinking. I'm not telling you that that's the right thing. It's just how I feel about it. Anyhow, thank you to ICECO. I couldn't, this is one of those weird situations. Again, email, one quick phone call, nothing but emails. And I really didn't think it was going to happen. And the next thing I knew, the packages were here. So, because they followed through on their end, I'm following through on my end. Okay? And I'm really going to put these things through their paces. You're going to see a video here shortly in the next couple days with us using this. Hopefully there won't be any issues. It'll be fun. And I'm going to open this up and try to see what the issue is with that. So if ICECO, if you're watching, I'll let you know something happened there. Could be kooky. But thanks again for sending it. And for everybody watching, thanks for being here. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm sure I'm going to get some funny comments underneath there. Yeah, I'm a pitch man now or whatever. But I honestly don't have a problem with this. If somebody's going to send me a product, this is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to measure it. I'm going to tell you what I think about it. These are my first impressions. I'm going to show you the features. And then I'm going to use it. And when I use it, I'm going to tell you how I used it. You're going to see it. And we're going to see how well it holds up over time. And after so many months, 6 months from now, I'll tell you if these things are still working, even again. And just, again, full disclosure, I'm going to tell you what I owe these guys. What I owe them is what I'm doing right now, which was a 7 to 10 minute video discussing the features and showing these off, which I did. And the next thing is I need about 4 minutes of it in real use. They would like some IG posts or whatever, and maybe like 10 lifestyle images that they can possibly use on their website. So that's easy for me to do. I'm going to do that. And I owe them. So that's it. You guys have a great day. Thanks for being here. And again, look up ICECO. They're a good, reputable company. And there will be, eventually, a discount code in the description, even if you're not seeing it right this moment. Come again. Come back again. Be kind to one another. I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, I just opened this up. This is what was floating around in here. And it looks to me like it's just the cover for this circuit board unit here. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that back on, and she should be good to go. ICECO, I don't think there's any issues. And there it is. Popped right back in place, no problems. It's just a friction fit. So if I hear something rattling around again, I'll know what it is. No big deal, eh?